Welcome to the CTA Foundation CES Interview Series. My name's Steve Ewell. I'm the Executive Director of the Consumer Technology Association Foundation, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Peter Kaldes, the CEO of the American Society on Aging. Welcome, Peter. Glad to have you here today.
Thanks, Steve, and what a great opportunity.
Well, we're glad to have you back at CES, and actually, since we last had a chance to talk at CES, you've taken over the American Society on Aging. And for those people in the audience that don't know about ASA, can you share a little bit about the work that you're doing?
Sure, happy to. The American Society on Aging has been around since 1954, and it's a membership association, and it unites and it empowers and it champions every professional who is in the field of aging, whether it's social workers, technologists, academics, lawyers, doctors. It's everyone who is working to improve the lives of all of us as we age.
Well, taking over, it's a really important organization. I've been really pleased to be involved with it through the CTA Foundation's work. And taking over as a CEO of an organization in the middle of a pandemic where your headquarters is on the opposite side of the country, you just decided to go for the hardest possible route in changing positions. Tell me a little bit about what drew you to this opportunity to join ASA.
Well, Steve, like many of your viewers, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And when I see a challenge, I go after it and try to solve for problems. And I think the American Society on Aging had an opportunity to really rise up to the occasion. Our nation is facing an ever-aging population. And there was a real opportunity to revive and enhance its mission at a time when, as you know, in 5 years, 20% of the population will be over 65 years old. So we think, I was very much attracted to the ASA role in strengthening its long-standing history of educating and empowering its membership, but also doing more for things of the moment and where we need to go as a country, which includes increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion, increasing our membership, expanding what it means to be in the field of aging, but also going down paths and talking about aging in a way that would advocate for stronger socioeconomic policies. So not just focusing on how we, the biology of aging and how we sort of atrophy as we age, supposedly, but really about the opportunities that exist as we age. And so that's what really drew me to the ASA role.
Well, and I think that's such an important part because, there's so many people who don't realize that they're working in the field of aging, even if they are. There's so many things that, whether it's, the way we live at home, the way we work, the way we play, all of that ties into the way we age and the way that we experience as we get older. So yeah, there's so many opportunities to bring together the diverse coalition that you have there within the ASA world. And I know that's been one of the things that has had me participate at some of the ASA conferences and other activities that you've done, is the opportunity to engage with so many people who are related to aging and start to expand that tent out. And I know one of your big priorities has been to bring more technology into the conversation around aging and ASA. Can you share some of the work that you're doing around technology? In fact, you've just recently had a whole forum focused on digital divide. So share a little bit about that work.
Absolutely. It really started on day one of my job when, and like you mentioned, the first week, I was faced with a shelter-in-place order, a pandemic, and our members were reaching out to us asking, what are other organizations doing in our membership to leverage technology to better serve either their clients, their patients, people in their community. And so we were doing a lot of matchmaking and getting people to share their digital experiences. And what I mean by that is so many organizations had to pivot very quickly and rely on the internet, not just for their day-to-day office work, but to just reimagine what it means to provide services, to provide programs, and really just reimagine their whole business model. And so from day one, we launched new programming around sharing some of those innovations with our membership, like live broadcasts featuring various innovators in the space. We did some podcasts, we did some webinars and educational series, and it all culminated in our most recent effort, which is the Generations Forum, a deep dive, a sort of week-long conference, if you will, where we touched on the topic of tackling the digital divide. We started the week talking about, with Microsoft and with Comcast, what the problem is. What is the digital divide as they saw it? And they identified access and affordability and, of course, security and trust. And then over the course of the week, we spoke with IT developers and folks who are in the aging space, aging network-related organizations, healthcare providers, and brought them together to talk about the importance of co-design and the importance of building technologies that actually work to bridge the digital divide, not exacerbate it. And then by the end of the week, we spoke with you and others about policy and about opportunities for entrepreneurs globally with ASA as we work together to build to tackle the digital divide. And then finally, we ended on a very optimistic sort of futurist tone, which is to say, what are the real possibilities? What are the positive sides to embracing technology, and what should we be mindful of to make sure that everyone who wants to use it can?
Absolutely. Well, and it really is amazing to see all the content that you're bringing together, all these conversations that you're helping lead and advance the conversation around aging and technology and addressing the needs of people of all ages and abilities. So I really applaud you for that work that you're doing. You know, you touched on a little bit of the way that you were able to help your members adjust to, the pandemic and being able to shut down and or work virtually and digitally over the course of this year. Talk a little bit about how does technology play a role in your ability to run ASA and your ability to continue to provide those valuable services to your members?
Right. No, that's a very good question. And like the rest of the world, we quickly pivoted to Zoom-like products to be able to interact with staff, to communicate with membership. But it also forced us to evaluate the need for physical office space. We downsized our office space. We've hired more talented staff from across the country because they appreciated the opportunity to work virtually. And when we get beyond this pandemic, we don't expect to be doing much differently with respect to office space. We're going to be relying on technology even more. There's no substitute, though, for in-person meetings and convenings and networking, which we very much miss. It was very much the sort of soul of our business, if you will. But we imagine a world where there's going to be a bit of a hybrid approach to the work that we do, where if you want to, you can come to our conferences and our convenings that will happen year-round to our educational programming, or you can come to them virtually. And so we imagine a world where we're integrating technology in every aspect of our business. And I think that's really here to stay. I don't think that's going to change.
Oh, I completely agree. And that's something that, obviously we're big believers in bringing people together with CES. And while we're doing it digitally this year, we're very much looking forward to coming back together in person in 2022. But we see the opportunity to have that hybrid and engage people both digitally as well as in person. Speaking of CES, this is where we go to see all the emerging technologies, the things that are both coming out this year, but also some of the future technologies that we're going to be seeing in this space. Beyond just the things that you use within ASA, are there spaces within the technology world that has you particularly excited right now?
I have to tell you, I've been fortunate to come to CES for quite a number of years now, and I've seen a real trend in the age tech space. And what I mean by that, it isn't just sensors and very sort of basic devices that track important biological functions, but actually those things that are designed to be used in the home and are almost seamlessly integrated into the design and the aesthetic of the home. So I'm really excited about those products that allow for folks to age in place, as we say, and to feel safe and secure at home without being reminded that they're either constantly being monitored or is some strange device that doesn't blend into their decor. I think that's really important. I'm really excited about exploring those technologies, but then also technologies that allow people to leave their home. What are some new mobile technologies and autonomous vehicle types of technologies that address the possible mobility issues of older adults? So those are the two sort of buckets of technologies that I'm most interested in.
Well, and those are two areas that have certainly been growing at CES over the last few years. And I'm also really excited because, as you point out, there's opportunities to provide the value for the older adults, for caregivers. But these are also products that all of us want to be able to use, and it really can benefit people of all ages. So it's really exciting to see the work that's being done there, but also some of the work that the companies are doing to do that co-design that you've talked about, to engage older adults, engage people with disabilities in the design of these products, so it works for all of us, regardless of age and ability.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve, completely. And I think one thing that oftentimes developers forget is it's one thing to have a good idea. It's quite another to test that idea on the folks who you want to use it most. And I'll take it one step further for your audience. You need validators. And I think the American Society on Aging has in its membership those leaders in organizations that can help validate your product and its efficacy. So I would encourage all your audience members to sort of look us up, check us out, see if they can partner with us. I think there's wonderful opportunities to collaborate. In fact, Steve, we have our annual conference as well that we've had to pivot and turn digital. We expect, over 3,000 some of our members to join us at On Aging in April of 2021, and it'll be an entirely digital experience, but one that'll be, I think, very interesting over a 2-week period that integrates a lot of variety of content. And our focus this year is on equity, and it's about how do we make sure that everyone who needs services, needs the internet, wants access to technology can get it.
That's great. And I'm looking forward to that conference. And, you touched on the opportunity to engage with ASA. If any of the audience wants to reach out, learn a little bit more about ASA, as well as ways that they can work with you, where would you send them to get more information?
Well, first place is to visit our website. It's asaging.org. You can also find us on all the social media channels. We also put out a regular publication to all our members. It's both long form and short form, entirely digital, that we pivoted to this year, called Generations. And that can be found at generations.asaging.org. And there you'll find articles that cover a wide range of topics, from ethics to medical assistance and technologies, to the latest in long-term care solutions, to how people are retiring differently. There's just a wonderful array of content for folks to just gobble up as they're at home working from their home office.
Oh, that's great. Well, I definitely recommend that people check that out. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, it's always a pleasure to talk with you and hear about all the great work that you're doing with ASA. And I look forward to staying involved through the CTA Foundation and through other members of our industry as they engage in your work. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to the CTA. And I'm looking forward to attending the rest of the CES.
Absolutely. Well, for the audience, if you're interested in learning more about the CTA Foundation, you can go to ctafoundation.tech, and I hope you have a wonderful CES 2021.